That's okay. We'll just take it as it goes. But we're rolling. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Make It a Great Day.
Hi.
Our letter. This is Dane Smith. Dane Smith is a good friend of mine. We worked together for a bunch of years in the past. He's a tattooer, a business owner, a real Renaissance man. And I believe you ran for president in 2012.
I did run for president. It was a short term.
It was a short term. It wasn't even on the ballot. They almost just gave it to you just for the shit of it.
They were like, dude, you got it. Don't worry about it.
Those were my favorite stickers. That was kind of, I mean, I guess that leads us into how I met you and stuff. Was Garrett made those stickers for
you. Oh, yeah, it was Garrett, yeah.
Garrett made that whole thing.
Yeah, Garrett
He's now
Jett,
one of your employees, so shout out to Garrett Jett.
Garrett Jett, man.
The real hero.
He honestly is the most well-connected person I've ever met.
He introduced me to you. He introduced me to Dustin. He introduced me to so many people. So endless thank yous. Just a big shout out.
For real.
To Socks.
Yeah, and he's busting his ass, man. He really is. He's been really wheeling and dealing. He's my delivery driver now.
Yep.
So he goes around to Cincinnati and some other parts of Ohio and other parts of Indiana and just busts his ass all day.
Just a true hustler.
He's good at selling things. He's got a real silver tongue.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up first, because I was like, then I started thinking about it. I was like, that is how I know everybody, and probably got into tattooing because,
honestly,
because he got a bunch of my first ones, and then
me
fixed
too.
some of them.
Oh, he's got my first ones too.
It's good.
He got some tattoos, all right.
He's got some tattoos where I'm like, no, that's pretty good for when I was doing it.
Oh, you were never like really, really bad.
Yeah, I think it's just learning and getting better as we go.
So fucking hard.
It's weird to think about 14 years ago.
Dude, yeah.
You were at 15 or 16 then.
Yeah. It was a long time. It's been a long fucking...
Sorry, I'm not... that's what I tell people, like, how long have you been tattooing? I'm like, my first tattoo was 14 years ago, and I've been tattooing for maybe 8 years professionally.
Dude. Yeah.
And I say, sorry, I'm not better.
Sorry, I'm not better,
While I'm tattooing, you're like, okay.
As weird as it is, too, I think people don't realize that. It's a lot easier to get better quicker now. But even back then, where we still had like a lot of technology and be able to reach out and like communicate with people, it was such a slow process. And you've always been talented in art too.
Well, you too.
I've been talented in art before, yeah. So, but it still was so slow going with like everything because the knowledge wasn't as like readily available. So I think now it's a little quicker, but still though. It's awesome to see like the progression in some like of the younger generation of tattooers being like, holy shit,
it's
so fucking
so fast, and it's just I think it was like readily available. We just didn't really know where to look. Like when I started, I didn't know anything about tattoos.
Yeah.
I think I started seeing like, honorable mention of people from Fort Wayne and stuff like that, and just being like, holy shit, like this is crazy. But I never thought that I could do anything like that. And obviously that's just confidence levels or whatever, and then you just start getting into it, and the new tattooers are just so much more equipped.
Yeah, and the knowledge is out there too as far as
like technology with tattooing. And you
don't have to. Yeah.
In the back end, you had to figure out needles, and you didn't I would get shit from 20 past 4 more, and now I'm looking at like your quality, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can do so much better.
So particular now too with like long taper, medium taper, short taper, the round, like how configurations are, and then also too you got to think now with today tattooing, you have like you go on the internet and there's a person like, oh, using this company, this grouping,
they just say it.
This ink or whatever, which is awesome. I really appreciate that. But back 10, 15 years ago, which wasn't that long ago, it really wasn't. In my head, it wasn't. There wasn't really a thing. Like you didn't share your information like that. And then there wasn't Instagram either, like sharing tattoos. So now we know what's possible. What you can do. It's kind of like skateboarding.
Having tattoo magazines in college, I got a bunch of tattoo magazines. It didn't really showcase like the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But it was like, it opened my eyes to like,
did you look at it like recently? Have you looked at any of those tattoos you thought were good recently?
I wonder where those magazines are. They're probably in my parents' attic or something.
They're pretty bad, honestly. A lot of them are pretty
They're probably good for the time, good for what, but just, like the technology, like you don't have to know how to do all that stuff. Everything's just kind of prepackaged into a way that you're able
Dude,
to just do it well.
It's like sports, man. It's like, when skateboarding was like, 10, 15 years ago, no one was doing certain tricks, or even like biking, like no one was doing a double backflip. Now it's like, oh yeah, a double backflip, that's super normal.
And yeah, that you could go into every profession and just think about that, I think.
Yeah,
but,
raising the bar.
Well, yeah. And, I mean, with you raising a bar, you have a supply company, Cream Tattoo Supplies,
Yep.
shout out.
Cream
And
Tattoo
I was
Supplies.
thinking about this morning because I was thinking about what to talk to you about. And I was like, I remember when you were like, I'm gonna. Hey, I got my shirt on too, man. Great Day Tattoo. Look at this.
I'm like, look at all this merchandise I have.
By the way, you owe me a advertising for this, and so we're bumping
I paid you in soup.
Yeah,
We're
you
even,
did bring me
Steven.
soup. Thank you so much. I take payments in soup, baby.
Tattoos.
No, I was thinking about it this morning because I remember when I was moving to Colorado, or I'd moved to Colorado, or it was like right in that point.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm starting a supply company. And I was like, why are you doing
Everybody
that? Like,
said
you're
I was
so
crazy.
stupid. And it really goes to show that if your friends have crazy ideas, just fucking support them.
Dude.
No matter what. Because now you're killing it. You're doing great things. And, well, at first I could have had a pretty good argument because your supply was shitty.
It was shitty. Yeah,
But and that goes to show for you, just continually getting better. That's how it goes. You learn mistakes.
No one's great the first time on anything.
No.
And business is the same way. I don't have a business degree at all. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start this. And dude, my ex, she's awesome. And she was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, I think this is crazy. And I was like, well, I have a credit card, so I'm gonna do it. She was like, whatever, cool, because like I didn't know he would be funding it. And then my own twin brother, love him to death. He was like, this is a pipe dream, terrible idea, don't do it. And everybody else is like, don't do it. And I was like, okay, hold on, listen to me out. Like you getting a being a tattooer and getting into tattoo supplies or getting into an industry that you know a lot about is a lot easier because you already know what you're looking for. You know what's good. You've got like a really quality friend group of people you can bounce ideas off of, talk to them, try to like quality check or whatever. Again, still difficult to navigate those waters, especially with the supply chain issue.
Yeah,
that's been a pain in the ass. But it's one of those things that just, dude, the amount of tattooers, and this goes to any other business, the amount of people supporting like these giant corporations, and then they're like, oh yeah, support local, but they never do. And I'm like, yo, man, like just hear me out for 2 seconds. Next time your friend has a crazy idea, don't always shoot it down. It could be good. It could work well, and at least support them as much as you can.
Yeah.
You
I hear the idea. It's good to give constructive criticism of like,
you need to poke
thought
holes
about this?
You need to poke holes.
Poke holes a little bit, make sure it's airtight to where it can succeed. Yeah. But yeah, now I'm like, man, I should give this crazy person some money. But I have crazy ideas all the time and don't act on them as much. At least not that level of crazy. But it has been super inspiring to see. And I mean, just the hookups. I mean, and you basically, I remember you talking about how you're like, I just want cheap supplies. So like, you get your own cheap supplies. You're hooking up all your friends with cheap supplies. It's a cool thing. It's cool to see it progress into what it is now, where you have a storefront, Fountain Square, where you sell art supplies too.
Another business.
Another business now. You bought a fucking building, dude. Yeah, that's crazy. It's been, I'm proud of you.
It was a lot. Recently I've had some time off, and it's been really enlightening and really relaxing, and really just a good time to like stop and reflect. And my therapist told me all the time, she's like, "You just really take time to enjoy your spoils." And I was like, "Okay, first off, shut up. You're not successful.
You don't tell me what to do."
No, she was right though. Like it was just one of those things that I was like, okay, I do need to take time to relax and do enjoy that, and like maybe focus on the positives rather than negatives. Because when I finally closed on the building and bought that building, I always wanted to do that in Fountain Square. I was like, everybody was congratulating me and they're like, oh, what are you gonna do now? They were like talking to me like I was gonna go on vacation or something, and I was like,
Work just started now.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Like, we're not done.
I can't imagine. I remember after you bought that building, I was like, I want to buy a building too. Like, what do I? And then like talking with my CPAs and stuff, and they're like, Bart, you really want to do that? Like, we know you pretty well. And I was like, you're right. I don't want to do that.
They were like, how many 14-hour days are you willing to dedicate?
Like, I don't mind working hard, but it's just like all the little laws and it's just my brain's different. But you definitely handled it. I don't know how you fucking do it.
I feel
probably eating homemade stew and just
like cooking. Yeah. Cooking is relaxing.
Well, and that was, I mean, we can segue. I mean, we can talk about euthanasia forever, but
Fucking kill them all.
but like before this, don't you go to sleep on me, girl. Before this, I was feeling, I don't know, I just get anxious, I get thinking and stuff, and what we've done, I was like, I gotta just, and what I could have done is just like sat, scrolled my phone or whatever. I was like, I need to go downstairs, stretch, and run a quick mile real fast, and it's been so helpful.
Dude.
We've been climbing, swimming, doing all this stuff, and
we're getting any younger.
We're not getting any younger. And two, it's a very I think we do have like an overflow of creative energy. Like we can just put out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially you.
You too. You're super prolific. You're always making stuff.
I try. But it gets to that point where you'll run out of stuff, and you're like, and it's still inside there, but you don't want to put it, so you got to
do other
funnel it into a way, and that.
Yeah.
I think working out and doing stuff, taking care of our bodies, because we were not the healthiest of people, say, 3 years ago.
It was honestly, I think, working with other people and watching them in their careers that were further along than we were at the time, and watching them deal with back issues, and then also my parents are vastly old, and one of them already passed away, and watching them deteriorate, and I was it was very apparent watching them. I'm like, holy shit, I gotta do something about this.
It's inescapable to a point, but do you want to be like that in your 40s, 50s?
No, and it's genetics. There's a large of it that is genetics or whatever, but there is okay, well, if you're given the best meat suit they could have given you or whatever, you might as well run your meat suit the best way you can.
You gotta keep it oiled up and functioning properly to do all these things, especially if we want to do all these things and keep up with dealing with emails and I mean, over time.
What if you want to settle down and have kids? What if you want to do these things? What if you want to do
run
things
around
in the
with
future?
a 2-year-old?
Dude, if you had a 2-year-old right now and you're you're in your 30s or whatever, by the time they're 20, you're going to be 50, and they're going to be like, Dad, why don't you want to go to the Himalayas or Africa and climb Kilimanjaro? And you're like,
what are you going to pay for? Is the first thing.
And they're going to be like, yes, Dad, I am. And you're like, fuck, now I have to get fit to go climb Kilimanjaro.
Successful 20-year-old kids. I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
But no, it is a lot of that. And I mean, neither of us have kids. We're just getting, I think it's definitely a huge difference on, in your 20s, you're just like, let's go drinking, let's go do this. And it starts to wear on you, kids. If you're watching this and you're doing that, have the most fun of your entire life.
I think with tattooing especially, do it
in
your 20s to, I say stop at 26 and just start being like, okay, now I need to invest in my body and my bank account.
That's about, 28, 27 or so.
Invest in other things in your life, because this is the career of tattooing doesn't have a fucking retirement. And I understand there's so many tattooers.
It can, but it doesn't have a set up thing. You have to figure out how to set it up.
Yeah. You have a retirement if you're smart and you're depositing in a Roth IRA or whatever, but for the most part, tattooing in itself, and I talk to some people who are like, I'm gonna die in the seat, blah blah blah. Did you talk to Bowery Stan? Have you talked to Tom DeVita? Have you talked to Shanghai Kate? Have you talked to Philadelphia Eddie? A lot of these people passed away broke as fuck. Yeah. And also, I mean, they were super fun to hang out with, and they were hilarious, and they're awesome, and I credit them for literally the history of tattooing and bringing forth so many good things. Like Philadelphia Eddie was awesome.
Yeah.
Smoothest hands alive.
Smooth man.
He's also hilarious. But he constantly was at conventions till he died because he loved tattooing, which is awesome, but it's
But it also kind of maybe had to do that stuff.
He also
just keep a
and Troy, had to buy Philadelphia Eddie, Troy Temple, who runs Villain Arts and stuff, had to buy Philadelphia Eddie shop and stuff, and do these things because he was a more business-minded person, being like, how do I make money tattooing? How do I make an empire? How do I keep this self-sufficient? And it's you know what? People want to talk shit about Villain Arts and stuff and Troy or whatever. But I will say this, though. When the pandemic hit, he gave every single person their money back. It was $4 million or something.
That is a rare thing for a pandemic business stuff. People giving money back to people.
Shout out to Literary Inc., where the people didn't give their money back, and they were like, we don't have it. And I'm like, so you just stole hundreds of dollars, and you gave 30% of it? And I hope everybody hears this.
There's
People
gonna be
who
so many,
underrate
dude. We got millions.
You owe people money, including me and my ex, who apparently is still tending her
She's
dementia.
still gonna go.
She's the
I
stupidest
know.
person
I didn't
ever.
know anything about that. And I was
She
like,
told me that,
oh.
and I was like, "You're gonna give them more money? They still
It
owe
should be a
you money.
freebie.
They should be like, hey, here's at least a fucking charcuterie board.
Something. A big cake.
I think it's
Harry,
okay.
where Daniel Radcliffe literally pops out and all of
Yeah.
them just fucking go nuts.
they just come on the cake.
I think I hit the awkward button. Let's see what that looks like.
I want the cake from Matilda, dude. A fucking
Oh.
Bruce Bogtrotter cake.
I saw a funny internet video today. It was is there like a new Matilda movie coming out or
It's
something?
coming out.
And they were
Or it's a
like
musical or
dancing,
some
but they
shit.
put like the music was to fucking Rob Zombie or whatever.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, dude,
It's
they're just
fucking
all dancing.
amazing.
I was like,
love that.
I like this.
This pleases
If
me.
they just this pleases me.
This
If they
pleases
kept it just like that, then maybe I'll go watch it. But
I'm not gonna watch this shit. This shit's
Dude.
dumb, dude.
Matilda was sweet. It had Danny DeVito in it.
Dude, it did have Danny DeVito in it.
He was the dad.
Oh,
Total
he's great.
shit parents.
Mm,
That's how it goes.
I understand that.
That happened. I don't at all. I'm Leave It to Beaver, baby.
Hey, that's great though.
Right.
That's a good thing.
We
I
have
think
it.
it's a good duality that I think that we have as far as upbringings go.
It's good to have different people that have different experiences
Mhm.
in all your life, and it makes you a little bit more
Mindful.
mindful
Yeah,
of just
mindful.
everybody's experiences and your own experiences.
Dude.
And
People a lot of times, and I know some people that just they're all the time they're like, "Man, my life was so shitty, blah blah. That's why I'm such a piece of shit." I'm like, "Fuck you.
that's not why you're a piece of
You're a
shit.
piece of shit because you're a piece of shit and you're lazy."
It's a freaking learning curve. It takes a lot to dig deep inside yourself and like figure out the good things about you and the things you don't like, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's a lot of repeating the cycle of like that's
Yeah.
how it goes. It's like this happened to me, I'm gonna do it to somebody else, and
Yeah, I think it's
It's
acknowledging shortcomings as well. Like
Mhm.
I have a very problem with relationships as far as like working a lot and just not caring about other people's feelings and being like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it the
Stern.
hardest I can and go as
Stern.
hard as I can and ignore everything around me. Terrible.
It takes a
Terrible.
everything in life is balance. It takes a lot of like self-reflection of that stuff. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like we've both definitely done our fair share of work in
Yeah.
the past couple of years to be better. Not everybody's got their faults. And we
Yeah.
continue to make mistakes, but you know
Every day.
what? You got to figure it. And it's like when we went climbing the other day, where one day we were really freaking good, and we're like, "How are we doing?" Me in particular, I was like, "How did I do all these?" And the next day,
Yeah.
terrible. And it's like, do you just quit after that terrible? No, you just keep on going. And
I think that's the thing I like about climbing the most is that you can go to the same gym with the same routes on the same, arguably health level, and have two entirely different experiences.
it makes you think like, what did I eat for breakfast that morning? Where's my mindset at? And that changes variably to day to day.
And why is your brain or body operating a certain way? And that could even go into, you could use that as like a mirror imaging to life or whatever, that you can wake up the same way you did yesterday and it could be the exact same ritual you do in the morning. And then you go to work and it's like entirely two different mindsets, entirely two different
Factors.
factors.
That's why when I tell people that tattooing is definitely one of the hardest like things that I've had to do, because there's so many factors.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
the people getting tattooed, their
Yeah.
skin, your supplies, how you set up your machine,
Mhm.
freaking weather outside. I don't
Their
know.
health as well too.
Their health.
Like their health, if they're gonna pass out, they didn't eat enough.
What
they,
cycle the moon's in,
Honestly, yeah.
how hydrated they are.
Women, man, they're controlled by the moon,
It's-
dude. Can't follow that.
I can't speak to that. I don't know how women are controlled. It's above my head. I don't know.
It's a joke.
I'm just kidding. But yeah. What were we talking about right before that?
It's so expensive.
To be in tattooing when we have gotten into it.
Yeah.
But I remember when it was like slow. Like I remember sitting at the freaking shop and
Painting, drawing.
just painting all day, wondering, you
Talking
put your
shit.
deals on,
Yeah.
talking, just literally like, here, children, have this business that you can run yourself,
Yeah.
and there's 4 kids working there.
There was 4 kids, yeah. And it was just
Four
sitting
kids.
around
And I'm talking about artistic skin design in Fountain Square. For those of you who don't know, me, Dane, Devin, Adam Wallenberg.
That was fun. Honestly, I'm gonna say those are one of the best years of my life. Just hanging out, just being like super, just not a care.
Unsupervised.
Unsupervised.
For the fun.
You should have had an adult.
It seems like, looking back, it's like, man, there were really no adults looking
Do you
back.
imagine, like, 40 years ago, your dad is like 22 and like has a car and a house and like 2 kids already, and then we're like 24, and we're like, we need supervision. We don't have any rules.
It was crazy. It was Wild West,
Oh
dude.
my God.
Like Fountain Square was definitely a different time.
It was fun though. I
It was
enjoyed
fun. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I think it was a good eye opener for me working with. I mean, that like kind of niche group of people, but all very different. And just kind of like built us into what we're in today.
I'm very fortunate to have met you guys and been around working around you guys. It was seriously like
The universe,
such a
man.
good eye-opening experience of like working with other creatives that actually go to a lot of tattoo shops. And I know I want to be this is I'm a tattoo artist, so we're gonna have tattoo discussion. But like a lot of tattooers getting into shops, and I discuss with them all the time. They'll ask me advice like, "Oh, I'm in a dead end shop, blah blah blah, I'm making all this stuff, and all my coworkers don't want to make anything." And like I didn't have to deal with that like for the majority of my career, and because of that, I feel like it really pushed me to actually do like art more, like be more productive, be more.
You got people like Adam.
Yeah, Adam Wallenberg's pushing out
pumps out stuff.
art every day.
I'll be like checking my stories and like he posted that
3 a.m.
And I just woke up and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he comes into work and he's like, hey, yeah, you're like, all right. He's like,
nah, I've just been
Nice,
drawing. I've just been drawing. But yeah, shout out to him. And yeah, it was definitely an eye opener, especially when I moved out to Colorado and I wasn't busy. I had to kind of like rebuild. That was the craziest thing. Like,
ground up.
I'm very comfortable and I'm very busy here. I'm gonna move away.
I just did that.
And try and do yeah.
We did that with the Mystery Fun Club.
Yeah.
You know, when you start something and you're really doing really well, and then you move all year and you have to restart and do everything again.
Yeah. It's a very humbling experience.
Yeah.
And I almost liked it. It was like that. You gotta try really hard. Like, it's not like you don't have to try here. You gotta stay on top of it. Continue to put out good work.
But there's momentum though.
There was momentum.
There's already
That'll carry. You got all these different.
There's no
you got
momentum.
connections.
There's no momentum when
And when you move somewhere else and have like little connections, you're like, okay, you got to go out, meet people, change your whole persona. It was cool, but those lessons that I learned before, just painting all the time. I just painted, put out. So like, it's possible.
I think too we get discouraged too a lot as artists or creatives that with social media and like feedback isn't as prevalent anymore. So like if you're in an isolated environment where you don't have feedback from like your coworkers or whatever, and you're not getting it on the internet, it probably does feel a little disheartening and a little like doom oriented. Like this is like not for me. But if you keep pushing it out there and keep trying, a lot of times it will pay off. It's just the point is to re-circle on a conversation back to like the younger generation of people moving into this career. There is no I just do something really a lot for a month and then I quit caring. It's like, no, you're going to have to do this a lot for years and just keep doing it. And then eventually it will lead to things better. But it's to have the hindsight and being like, okay, this is the right path.
Mm-hmm.
When I started King Tattoo Supply, wasn't doing great, wasn't awesome, wasn't a good time. Now it's great, it's doing well. I'm starting an art supply store, Mystery Fun Club. Wasn't great when we started out. Put a ton of money into it, trying to help out, build a community, make something for the community that will be happy about it. It's just starting over again, and it's so it's difficult.
You gotta make it great.
Yeah, you gotta make it great.
It doesn't say it right there. This is on the screen. It's magic.
Yeah, it's just dude, put in the fucking time. And
if you care about it, and if you don't, then don't put in the time.
Don't do
because
it.
then it'll be a huge waste of time.
If you don't enjoy it.
But sometimes things fail.
Yeah,
but if you work really hard, like the chances of failing are gonna dissipate a little.
Yeah, I would say sometimes no matter what, it will fail. But you're just gonna have to.
Everything has a timestamp.
Everything has a timestamp. It's so accurate.
It is a bummer, but we're here. We might as well, make the best of it.
Yeah.
And do things that help others. That's like, I don't know.
That's been my most rewarding thing in my life, honestly, has been able to take people and I don't want to say bad situations, but taking people in situations that they're not happy with, and then to improve their lives. Mm-hmm. That honestly has made me feel better than any fucking piece of art I've ever done. And that's why I got into entrepreneurship and making businesses and helping people, is because, dude, you make it like jerking off at art of saying you just make this fucking piece of art, you work on it, you labor on it, you fucking climax, which is you finishing the art, and then you're done, and then you don't care anymore. You're like, well, I can go in the trash. I don't give a shit. But
That's a great analogy.
but
Wow.
if you, oh wow. But if you take someone and like your instance, your old apprentice,
Teach them how to jerk.
teach them how to jerk off. What you need to do is teach.
Like that's been my like.
Just, Gabe. What about Gabe?
Yeah.
Shout out to Gabe.
Shout out to Gabe. Just I was in no position to have an apprentice, but down in Golden, just super young kid, 20 years old that just had it and just got a good and just seeing him grow and giving him a career that he is gonna surpass me, hopefully.
100%.
I don't even care about that. I'm like, Jesus, I wish I had that.
Is awesome.
It's a good feeling, man. It's with the whole thing with the Great Day tattoo is just like trying to, have everybody have a great day. Like the stigma of tattoo shops being like negative energy forces where it's a bummer, man. And it's been that's my uncle one time was like. And we get one of my Uncle Mark's. We get asked the same question as tattooers. You get asked questions. It happens. I don't mind it. I don't care. Does it hurt? All that stuff, and that's totally fine. I don't mind answering those questions. But as a family member, we were just sitting around dinner table. He goes, "What makes you different than any other tattooer?"
I love that.
And I was like,
"Good question."
Nobody's ever asked me that before. I was like, well, and this is just a self-confidence thing. I was like, I'm a pretty average tattooer, whatever, skill, craft-wise, but what I bring is the experience. Like a good experience. I want these people that I'm physically having a connection with and transferring of energy. I want them to feel better.
Your social skills.
Social skills. Yeah. That's what I have to sell.
Yeah, social skills, 100%.
I think like teaching that to other tattooers, like Gabe, super awkward, like you goof. First, he just looked a little awkward, a little hesitant, a little not confident. And then when I was there last time, just watching him interact with clients, like not so much the tattoos, but just watching him interact with his clients and deal with people that come in the shop was like, I was like, that's my joke that you stole from me, you little turd.
Perfect.
Great.
But
you can work on the delivery.
That's the hardest. That part of tattooing, the social aspect, is a part that no one really. I don't feel like a lot of. I would say this. I would say that most of the self-help, most of the how to tattoo, yada yada yada, or whatever, all this stuff. No one fucking talks about how important it is to have social skills with your clients. How to assert. Make sure that you have boundaries, make sure they have boundaries, make sure they're comfortable, and then also just making sure they have a good fucking time and they feel wanted.
And like some people would argue that that's not important.
It's so important.
And I just really disagree. Like I've been tattooed, how many stories of people do you have? Like, oh, where'd you get that? And they're like, oh, I can't remember his name. He was kind of a dick.
Yeah, and you're like, give me the best tattoo ever. And you're like, I would fucking like.
Yeah, I have a couple tattoos that you get tattooed by people, and you're like, this person really wasn't that interesting. I really didn't have that good of a time, and it's on you forever.
Yeah.
So you only it doesn't matter how good it looks. You remember the experience.
If your tattooer, if your artist is like doesn't care about the time, and like they're late, and they're just like. They're just treating you like a number or whatever, and they don't care about you. It's like that is the most. If you're a client or whatever, that makes you feel terrible. It's like I always try to make a point to my clients, and one of my clients are getting bigger pieces, and I'm like, hey, thank you so much for letting me do this. This is a big commitment, and like I really appreciate letting me do this. It's an honor, and it's the social aspect of that. It's like, I want to be friends with my clients, and I want to have a good time with them because one, I got to stay with them for like fucking 8 hours.
They better be cool.
They better be cool. They're not, they're out.
Yeah.
And two, if they aren't cool and they are like some weirdo or some like they're messing up something or whatever, and they're just like a bad person, I'm like, hey man, like it's just not gonna work, dude. And you're just kind of a bad guy.
No,
and there's few and far between. 1 out of 100.
I think it's just so important to just build that positive environment because you're literally transferring energy into people's skin.
Yeah,
it's an intimate experience. So it might as well be good intimacy.
Yeah. And you probably have like tons of clients that you call friends now.
Most of them, I would say. Like it's actually kind of tough for me because I'm like I have so many clients that are like, yeah, I just want to just have beer with you or go out and hang out sometime. I'm like, you are getting me at my best. This is where I'm the most confident and the most, like, myself. I was like, me out in public is just, like, not as fun. I feel like
it's like my enclosure, and you take me out of this. I don't know.
I'm a little different, you know. It's not as, like, and I've told it's kind of like therapy where, like, you know, when you're getting a tattoo, you can share all these things and talk to people because you don't have to look at them. You're looking at this, they're looking at it, they might be looking at you, but there's no eye contact and stuff, so you're in this, like...
It's a different environment for sure.
Yeah. It's an easy way to overshare and get goofy and say shit that's
dude. Oh man, some of the clients, the oversharing is pretty entertaining.
It's fun, and I think that a lot of tattooers are not like kind of equipped to deal with some of that. That's why I'm like, man, tattooers like in some parts should have some sort of therapy psychology degree.
Honestly, yeah, and there's a lot of times where you just said was that when people are talking to you and they'll say something like super fucking like outlandish, like you're like, am I in a conflict
you gotta just
murder?
know how
to. You just say
you just have to know how to navigate a social situation and kind of like either disarm or like when crazy people walk into the shop, you're like, how do I?
Yeah, I
figure this out in a peaceful way.
Okay, I'll give you a story.
Oh,
story. Why not? Because as tattooers, we love stories. So I had a guy who wanted a snake on his arm, and I was like, yeah, sure, totally, sounds great. He goes, oh, it's going to fit in some weird spots. And I was like, yeah, man, just send me a picture of your arm where you want it at. Your arm. Mm-hmm. And he was like, he sends me a picture, and it's him in the mirror like this. And then right here, right on his inside arm, is this like little outline of this like where it's supposed to go. But he's completely shirtless, and his mirror picture, I can see his like entire dick trunk, not the tip or whatever, but like I would say probably a solid inch of it, which is like, okay, that's fucking weird. So I was just like, whoa, okay, yeah, tight. That was inappropriate. And then he comes in, and then obviously like I feel like a lot of times when people in social awkward situations would not address it, and I was like, yo, man, what's up with the dick pic, bro? He was like, oh, I thought you might say something about that. I'm like, why wouldn't I say you sent me basically a nude, and then you wanted a tattoo on the inside of your arm?
Was he being funny or did he?
I still to this day I don't know.
Because I remember when Rob Goodkind did my arm, and we were joking while I got tattooed about the funny healed photos that people send, like just shitty healed. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, it's all healed.
Yeah.
So I like took a picture of me in the mirror and my ass crack is like in it, and I was like,
"Hey, on purpose?"
Yeah, I did it on purpose. And I'm like, "Oh, it's all healed up, dude." And he just sent back like emojis with like the big eyes and stuff, and I was like, and then I don't know if we just didn't talk as much after that or anything like that. But I was like, oh man, I was just trying to be funny.
But it's like that's really funny to like if you were to do that to me or whatever because we have like a previous relationship. What? But if you're saying it to a stranger, and
I've been tattooed by him for like 20 hours or something like that.
You do have a relationship with that. If my client were to do that, and I've done sleep on him, I'm like, nice dude, sweet dick or sweet shaved dude.
I think he laughed after that, but it was probably like why'd you send this to me?
Yeah, it's always those weird things. You're like, and I didn't realize this, but I guess I have a really hard time realizing someone actually is hitting on me. I'm like kind of are you?
Especially
hitting on me?
Especially since being like a heterosexual man. If a man was hitting on me, I don't know how I would be able to. I don't know. I just think it was like a funny thing, like a humor. Like
I'm hitting
send me a dick pic, and you're like, you're fucking goofy, dude.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I've had so many dick pics sent to me, and I'm like, dude, nice schlong, bro. Like, good job, dude. Good job growing that schlong, dude. But it's like. And it's like it's by the most heterosexual males usually, and you're like,
great eggplant.
Yeah. It's weird when your client will be like intimate with you or hitting on you or whatever, and you're like, I mistake it a lot for being kindness because I am also very social with my clients and very friendly, and I think we're all having a good time. So sometimes you're like, what are you doing? And I'm at work. I'm like professional as fuck as far as that goes.
You gotta turn on a little charm.
I got charm. I'm gonna be charmful. I'm gonna make jokes. I'm gonna make you. I want to make you feel comfortable because this is an awkward situation. I don't know you. I'm hurting you. I'm touching you.
Just let me know. I'm cool. I'm a cool guy.
I don't want to make this weird, and I don't want you to feel awkward or whatever, or feel uncomfortable. But that being said, a lot of times clients can be like, you're dealing with the public. You got fucking crazy. You got people coming in and they'll fucking pull their tits out and they'll be like, "Does this look infected?" And you're like, "Hey, can you please not do that?
No, we're friends, but just give me a little bit of warning."
Can you just And
it's good with people that are like more comfortable than non-comfortable.
Yeah.
And damn, what was I gonna say? I had a good.
Yeah.
It'll come back to me.
It's I don't know how like our shop is very it's private oriented. We can't walk in anymore. It's just like you have to like be.
That's still like an open shop.
Still open shop.
It's the best way to go.
I love it. I'm super for open shops. Anybody who's working in cubicle shops, I think it's terrible. I think it breeds.
It doesn't work for you.
I don't think it's good.
What do you think about tattooers putting on headphones?
I hate that.
People? I can't imagine.
You're in customer service.
I saw like a video of a tattoo shop, which it was pretty. It was like an old church or whatever. But it was all white. There's like no artwork, and all the artists had headphones in.
I don't like it.
I was like,
I don't like it. I don't care. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna put my opinion.
I will say that I
think
think it's goofy, and I think it's pretty lame because then it's just like stroking off the ego of like I'm this artist. And
I wouldn't assume that, but I would assume that you're getting rid of a really important element in the tattoo process, and that is the communication of client to tattooer. And just like
it's that transfer of energy.
It's that transfer of energy, and it's also just like it's a lot more. You feel a lot more at ease being in a shop that you can talk to someone. I've been tattooed to shops like that,
and well, then some people don't want to talk,
which is
and that's
fine.
cool. If they put the headphones in first, it sucks
Totally
for me
cool.
because I'm like, well, you just missed out on like 2 hours of great jokes.
You're like, I'm gonna be
I set up
hilarious.
this whole like it is like stand-up comedy. You know, you get a bit together. You got a couple bits. We got a couple bits in the shop where you know if the people are feeling
Dude,
awkward,
Dustin's
you're
got
just
some
like
good bits.
Dustin and me go. Sometimes it can get a little out of hand. And most of the days he's like, "Did we go a little overboard today?" And I'm like, "No, dude, don't think about it too much. Like, you'll be all right."
Yeah, Dustin's got some good bits. But it's cool to have. I think those shop environments and the very closed environment, very just like very sterile medical kind of feeling. For me, not good. I don't agree with it. I think you're.
Dane Smith doesn't like sterile.
I don't fucking like
tattoo
salon
shops.
shop looking tattoo shops. I don't like it.
If you have one, it works pretty cool. That's cool.
I don't like them just because if I'm in that environment and I'm tattooing, and my clients are multiple hour pieces, they're like, you know, a minimum.
They're just looking at the white wall.
7 to fucking 30 hours of work, and it's like, dude, I don't want to literally just like ignore someone for 7 to 30 hours. And there's so much insight you can gain. How many clients have you talked to they've changed your life? I would say changed your life.
Literally.
I got into fitness because I talked to all my clients are fucking meathead, bodybuilder, fucking athletic motherfuckers, and they look great. And I'm like, man, like, why did you do that? And they told me, they're like, I mean, you've got one, like, imagine you have one car your entire life or whatever. Why wouldn't you take care of your fucking car? You only have one car ever. And I was like, and it gets you everywhere you want to go. Why would you put the shittiest fuel in it and not do oil changes and not take care of it if you only have this one car that you know of?
Full circle.
And I was like, okay, well, that's a really good point. And if I would have been in that fucking sterile salon environment, I would have never gained insight of like business, lots of business. And those lots of people that I'm tattooing are successful because they have money to get tattoos. So they have other things going on in their life, and some of them are so insightful and have so much experience and so many things.
When you open yourself up to the clients, they like start digging a little bit and figure it out.
Love it.
I have so many friends now that were clients and like people that do really interesting things.
Dude, jobs that I'm like, that's real.
That
that's a job.
I just like trade with them because I'm like, do you want to do this for me and I'll do this for you? Like that's been the
or just insight in like your brain, like helping your brain compartmentalize aspects of like, oh wow, that would really help me handle that situation. Like, oh, that's like, oh, I should do this. I'm like, oh, that's really smart.
And I think it goes both ways where we impact clients as well because we're open and vulnerable and talk about crazy shit with them all the time. Like when I was going through life coaching, it would have been an interesting time to get tattooed by me because I was probably just like, oh yeah, you gotta do that. And maybe I've had a lot of people that I'll just be like even drinking out of this glass water bottle now that I drink it. My client the other day was like brought in a glass water bottle. I was like, did you get that after I talked to you? And he was like, yeah, man. And I was like, that's crazy. Like you listen to me. Yeah. Do you see what I'm doing?
Less
for a living?
Easy to clean. Like this is a shaker, but it also you can clean it really easily. Measuring too.
No plastic.
This is tons of plastic. I love microplastics. I'm all about it.
We eat like a credit card a week of microplastics.
I'm fine with
Yes,
that. You know what it's from too? It's from the garment industry mainly.
Garments?
Yeah,
like
garments.
polyesters.
Yeah, it's
like,
because when you put it in your
shirts.
washing machine or whatever, it goes into the water supply, all the microplastics, and then it goes into the water system, and then after that, it gets into everything else. It's kind of like before World War II and like the detonation of the first atomic bomb, steel was actually like a totally different steel. It was like 100% like clean and like perfect.
Yeah.
But then because of the radiation or whatever, the only way they can find non-radiated steel is at the bottom of the ocean.
Steel ore digging.
Bum, bum, bum. But it's again gaining insight from clients. And
Did you learn that from a client?
no, I didn't learn that.
That would have been so perfect for this
I
conversation.
did learn the microplastics.
No, I've just tons of stuff.
But it's learning those things, and I'm like,
It's opening
holy
yourself
shit.
up to different possibilities and not just being stuck in a little bubble of your own head.
I would say this too. I would say gaining insight of people dealing with super traumatic things every day. I do a lot of first responders, and the things they tell me is so nonchalant, and I'm like, oh my god, are you okay? But also, I hear that and I go, wow. That's terrible, and whatever the fuck how I'm going through, which is definitely still important, is not nearly as bad as shoveling someone out of a truck.
Yeah.
And by shoveling, I mean they are human goo, and you need to remove them from that truck.
It really opens up your mind. Like, I mean, I've definitely had people that were like, yeah, I thought about killing myself last night, but I figured I'd just get it. It's like, okay, now I have to.
That's like emotional jumping.
It is. But you're like, I've had it happen. I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad you didn't because you're about to give me this money for this tattoo. And they're like, just try to play it.
I've had clients that had appointments that killed themselves.
Yeah.
And that is one of the
mental health is
fucking things ever. And, we've had friends that have done it, and it's like, it's the worst thing ever, and it sucks, and it's like, don't get me wrong, you want to quit or whatever, but it's like, yeah, you want to quit, but
it's like, I'm not ashamed of people for wanting to give up. That's their own choice to do whatever they want, but it is a bummer because it affects a lot of people.
Also, your pain isn't ended; it's just transferred.
Yeah, it's transferred.
It's just transferred to every single person around you.
It's like a crack in glass or something, or a hole in glass. You see that hole go through, but then the glass is left kind of like shattered.
Yeah, and then when it shatters, everybody has to pick up the pieces. Yeah, and then they have to just be like,
took a fucking turn.
Super dark.
Damn it. We were talking about positivity and clients and then
fuck that, dude.
But
murder suicide all day.
No. It is a lot, but it's good. I'm just fortunate is what I kind of come back to.
Yeah,
that's how totally. That mindset of what I currently named this, that I might change it. It's just like, what else can you make great while you're here in this planetary?
I think what you could affect. What the best things that you
kind of imprints.
What you said, the best thing that, well, I've said this too, but like, the best things that we could do in life, honestly, are affecting others and making their lives better. And if you could internally make someone's life just a little fucking better, that honestly, for me, is a great day.
Yeah.
Because that's fucking great. Like, that really is great. That's an awesome thing to take someone's life or take someone's situation and give them like a tool, either a mental tool or a tool in their life that they can positively affect others, and then hopefully spread it.
Yeah, because making it a great day is like, it's a mindset, and you have all the tools in your mind to make it a great day. But then, the outer world, things happen, and it's just kind of not negating all those bad things that happen or the bad things that are going on in the world, but how can you ebb and flow with it and kind of recognize and then help spread what little positivity you might have on a bad day to somebody else who's to say they're not going to go off and make something great.
Yeah. Even my worst day is talking to some of my clients. I'm like, man, it's not as bad as it could be.
It's just, it's all perspective.
Yeah,
a lot of things. We're here trying to make a great time. We're not here for a long time. Not here for a long time. Got to make it a great time. I guess in closing, it's been about an hour. I gotta kind of pee. So, do you have any news? I know you have a First Friday art show.
First Friday, January 6th. Everybody who has ever worked at Fountain Square Tattoo will be displaying an art piece. Well, not everybody. Some of us weren't able to do it. We'll be displaying an art piece in a gallery. We will also have prints for sale, and we'll have a cash bar as well. It's at Mystery Fun Club, which is my art supply store And we will also have just, come out. It'll be a good time. It's at 1102 East Prospect Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. And the timing will be from 6 to 10 p.m. because I got to go to bed because I'm old.
He's old. I'll be there. It'll be a good time. At least I think so. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. But I'll do my best. Well, we want to thank Dane for having on. Thank you, everybody, for
so much.
watching
Appreciate
this. If I ever put it on the internet, which I probably will,
You got to put
but
it
you
on.
got to put it on. The
Everything you
internet.
do,
I think
you
it
got to
went
put it
pretty
on
well.
the internet, man.
Can't hold yourself accountable.
You got to put it on the internet,
But-
man.
Oh man, I forgot to do the. Let's do some other applause. Thanks, Rock. Act like there's some closeout music that I can't actually put on here.
There's not.